Hello, fellow AfterBuzzers. We're here talking Gotham Season 4, Episode 2, The Fear Reaper, where, Jonathan Crane fulfills his father's legacy to become Scarecrow. Gordon is Julius Caesar, essentially, and the Dark Knight begins. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yes. Classic rock. Really good times. I kind of feared the Reaper a little bit, our Fear Reaper this episode. How do you feel about Scarecrow?
I don't like him at all, but that's because I don't like scary stuff at all.
What are you doing in Gotham? You need to get away.
But I love Gotham. Gotham is definitely the exception for me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. As you'll notice, Stephen and Lucretia are not here today. They are out on assignment, kicking ass in the streets of Gotham, but they'll hopefully be back with us next week. Until then, I'm your host, Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
And hi guys, I'm so excited to be a part of Season 4 for Gotham. I missed last week's episode because I didn't know that I was going to be a part of it.
No additions.
But I am right here now. And my name is Karla Beltran, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla B Travels, Karla with a K, and on Twitter at Karla with a K, Beltran R.
I'm so excited to have Karla here because, Karla, if you don't know, Lucretia is our dirty, loves the villains or the anti-heroes girl, and it's super awesome. But your favorite hero is Batman, who's also my favorite hero, which makes you perfect for Gotham, even though you don't like scary things.
I know. Well, see, the thing is, I don't like scary things, but I'm addicted to Gotham. I remember when I first started watching it, I was, really, just hooked on, all the different cases that came up, and just the stories of how each, super, villain kind of came about to be, and how they were all these different things that happen, and I don't know, I like it. Yeah, but I don't like the Scarecrow.
That's totally fair. Once I got used to the fact that it wasn't going to be like the GCPD comics, Gotham Central, which is one of my favorite comics of all time, and got on board with the idea of seeing a young Bruce transform into Batman, I was like, yeah, I can dig this show. It's amazing. So let's just jump right into it. We get the birth of Scarecrow. We get a little bit at the tail end of last episode. He puts on the mask. We see it's kind of scary. But here we see him full voice, creepy eyes with the blacked out part. Yeah. And I was commenting on Twitter, it's really hard to follow Cillian Murphy, who did Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy. But I thought Charlie Tahan, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, I thought he did a pretty good job. He was kind of, I don't know if it's not really fair to compare the other villains to Jerome, but you kind of get a little bit of that, kooky, offbeat, my dad didn't do right by me sort of sense of chaos, which I can appreciate. What did you think of Tahan's performance?
I personally thought it was really great. I think that anybody that's able to play a super, villain has to be amazing, because in order for you to be able to get inside that character, it takes a lot of work. Any villain takes a lot of work to kind of get into that madness, and not everybody can act like they're mad. Some people are just they just have this natural acting, but when you have to pretend that you're going crazy, that's tough. So for him, to just kind of get into that character, and especially the way that he was doing his eyes, and to keep his eyes open for that long, it was you know what I mean? And it was just super big.
And kudos to the cinematography team, because that eye light was sharp. It was all shadows, bam, light. So they were on their stuff. On top of the birth of Scarecrow, Bruce gets arrested. He falls through the roof, as we see last episode. They're robbing it. Wrong place, wrong time, kind of. Police showed up really fast. It's kind of funny to see, a
Bruce behind bars.
Well, not even that, but, trying to curtail the police. You see kind of the naivete of his early lies, I just fell, Bruce. Well, but what were you doing that you were on this specific, why?
Yeah.
They're saying, hey, Selena, using part truths and part lies. I love seeing Alfred right there just swoop in by his side, locking in with those lies, even though he's uncomfortable with it. But my favorite part of the scene was Lucius Fox being so... that looks like gravel. What are we doing, children?
Well, personally, I think that Alfred is my favorite person from the show, I think. because he's just always next to Bruce. And I love that. I wish I could have somebody like Alfred that would back me up in all of the bad ideas that I have.
It's something we don't talk about enough. If you could have your own personal Alfred, who would it be? Like, my personal Alfred would probably be Michelle Obama, you know? Because she would kick your, like, Michelle Obama's not going to let you, like, sleep in on a Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
you have things to do. There's going to be a checklist. But also, when you're having, like, a bad day, she's going to be able to comfort you and
Yeah.
bring you joy. If you could have an Alfred, who would your Alfred be?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I had to think about this one, and then I'll probably get back to you guys on that.
Caine.
But
Michael Caine. I like that,
Michael
Anthony. There is only one Alfred, and his name is Michael Caine. I appreciate that. Let's see. Crane is in the hospital, in the asylum, excuse me. Crane's in the asylum, and he's got his gas, and he's not afraid to use it on the warden, who last episode was being such a jerk. I totally was like, get him, Crane. I know that, I mean, he's not innocent. He definitely, you know, sold an inmate to a group of gangsters. So I didn't really feel bad at all. I didn't feel bad. Like, usually I'm like, oh no, innocent people. But here I was like, yeah, no, this seems fair. This is justice.
I thought he was really creepy.
The warden?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
he was really creepy. So when he came back, I was like, oh, good. Like, make sure you get him. Take the creep.
That's probably why his inner demon was a crazy clown.
Yeah, I totally freaked out. And that,
Yeah, you were not about the killer clowns.
I didn't.
You were like, I don't want to look at them. I don't want to see them.
Totally turned my face. Well, I'm kind of, sort of, definitely terrified of clowns.
I hate clowns.
I don't know why.
Sorry if we have clowns listening. I'm sure you're good
Yes.
people, but I hate clowns.
Kind of, sort of, definitely.
But honestly, it's a fear of mine that I've had since I actually watched the original It.
The
I don't
Tim
know.
Curry version.
Yes,
Sure.
I came in. I was very young, and I came in like I walked inside the room at the wrong scene, and ever since then, I just didn't trust clowns.
Okay, fair.
and especially like in the episode, they made him seem so creepy. I was like, is that necessary?
He had like the yellow teeth and
Yeah.
not an unhinged jaw, but certainly wider than you'd prefer someone's mouth to be open next to you. It's uncomfortable. But I like that was his fear. But I'm also going to plead with creators, no more killer clowns. We've done that. This is our third time. I had to sit through American Horror Story. I had to sit through It. And now this. I'm done with the killer clowns. My heart can't take it.
Clowns are hot right now.
They
They're popping.
I wonder why.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. The warden gives one of my favorite lines to someone who's about to attack you, which is, you could just leave. Sir, what did you think Crane came to do? Like, you could just leave and do what? Like, the man is crazy. You drove him crazy. He was a scared little kid, and then you locked him in, or you sold him to a group of gangsters who locked him up with his biggest fear. It's over for you. That's a weak line, but it was also hilarious.
I actually wrote
Yeah.
down my favorite line from this thing.
Get it.
That says, face your fears and you'll defeat them. And I thought that was like really powerful for them to say that, because I think most of the time people are always like running away from their fears rather than like just letting it, like fixing it and
Yeah.
stuff. So I think that's why it was really effective to see Gordon kind of be and realize that no, that's not the truth. That's not what's going to happen. And he was able to snap out of it and pretty much save Gotham.
That was
all
a
over
really
again.
good message.
Yeah.
But before we got to that, there was a killing spree where he thought clowns he thought they were clowns. The warden did, but they were actually inmates. Cool scene. This whole asylum business reminded me of Gotham Asylum. I'm sorry, not Gotham Asylum.
Arkham.
That's what Arkham Asylum. Yes, the video game, which is freaking dope if you haven't played it. It's a trilogy. It's amazing.
Love it.
Because it's the best. There's actually a scene in here where the one where Gordon comes in with the gun and he's surrounded by the crazy inmates, and then Scarecrow's on the mic like, "Hey, get him. This is your worst enemy." I'm like, the Joker did that in the video game, and it's amazing. So I really appreciated them doing that. I felt a little bad for the prisoners. They're not all bad people. In our next scene, Penguin comes into the GCPD with are reporters just following Penguin around now?
Yes, they
Ever
are.
since he started running for mayor, way back, there's just always a reporter right there to take his words. Mm-hmm. I kind of appreciate it. It's also a little bit annoying. I'm like, this is a little too convenient. I kind of feel like maybe they're, oh gosh, what is the name of the network that publishes all of the celebrities' dirty stuff? TMZ.
TMZ.
I feel like he has his own TMZ team following him around.
He does, definitely.
It's kind of beautiful. But we get this question, penguin or chicken? And this is a showdown between the Gotham City Police Department and Penguin. It is loud. I don't know. Who do you think won the first time around? Gordon's making, because Penguin's making these statements essentially saying, look, crime is down. I'm helping the city. You're not getting on board. You're making it worse. If we go to war, you're creating this violence when I have found a way to control it. Where Gordon is saying, hey, we're the police. We have a job to do. I'm not going to honor these things. I thought they both made good verbal arguments, and they kind of, there wasn't a clear winner at the end of the first round. So I'm curious if you felt one person won or if you felt it was kind of a tie.
I didn't really think there was like a battle between them because it's just two different types of views, and I think everybody's open to their view. And if he thinks that Gotham is better off because he controls the crime, then that's great for him. At least he's controlling the crime. And if Gordon thinks that Gotham would be better off by the police controlling the crime, then the police better get out there and control the crime.
Who do you think the police? Because it felt to me like at the end of round one there was a 50-50 split amongst the officers. Of like,
really? I thought like none of the. I mean, first of all, he got beat up by his fellow officers.
Some agree. If you watch The Wire, you know they're not all. Like it felt to me like in the last episode, the police that beat him up, it was like a small faction of them. Like there's a group loyal to Penguin within the system. Fair. But here you definitely saw some people like. It's like becoming a doctor. Like, nobody becomes a doctor to hurt people. Yeah. Sometimes along the way, you might make a mistake, or, like, part of healing can sometimes be painful. But that's not why you get into it. In the same way that as a police officer, like, sometimes you're going to make really bad decisions, or you're up against a lot of things, but you come because you want to see justice served, generally. And so I got this feeling like, I don't know, I felt Gordon's words kind of deeply, and I feel like maybe some of the officers were like, yeah, I'm an officer, and this is a little weird, but at the same time, you know, we're not treated well, and we don't have a good success rate, and nobody likes to fail.
Yeah, and that too, but also, Gotham is a very dangerous place, and cops have been killed like so many different in every single episode. I think there's probably been like 1 or 2 cops that were killed.
Yeah, especially if you look at season 3, or is it 2? I can't remember when Gordon assembles his own like private detective squad where he like recruits the newbie police.
That was season 2.
Yeah,
and almost every single person died within like pretty much. And then like even the officer that remember where the guy that used to eat his victims, he like lets him go, and he like ends up like pretty much not eating the officer, but he ends up like biting her.
He sure does.
I was like, oh,
it's brutal out here to be a GCPD officer. I totally understand why people would not want to be a part of that. One of my favorite moments in this episode, because it is the teaming up I have been waiting for since day one. We get a cool. It looks like it's printed on very fancy toilet paper. Where it says, an appointment awaits. It's very plush. It's quilted. It's a beautiful card. Tabitha and Selena show up to this gorgeous house. It's a giant door. They don't know why both of them got the card, but they did. And it turns out Barbara is back. I believe we said this last season. If there is no body, there is no death. Y'all didn't check a pulse. She was not buried in the ground. Barbara's back. And how do you feel about her wig? She has kind of like Sia hair going on without it being like long and obstructing her face. I really appreciate it.
I love it. It sort of, Barbara kind of reminds, I remember when I started watching the episode, Barbara reminded me kind of like, I thought she was going to be the Joker. Well, not the Joker, but the Joker's.
Harley Quinn?
Yes. Yeah. And I thought that's who she was going to like originally
a lot of people had that theory.
Get to be there. So seeing her with the wig is it's close enough for me.
That's kind of how I felt. She had on the super high heels. She looked very clean. This is maybe the most stable we've seen Barbara in a long time. Yeah. She went from like,
normal
annoying
to
girlfriend to super psycho to recovering psycho to power hungry to dead. And now she's back and she looks amazing. I did love the check for the pulse line. She basically offers them an idea. Barbara is brilliant, first of all. She's like, oh, we have licenses now? Well, you need somewhere to pick up your weapons. I love this idea. Yeah. I love it because it means the birth of the Gotham City Sirens, who are one of my favorite teams ever. In the comic books, that's Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn. Here we've got Tabitha, who's kind of teaching Selena to be Catwoman, which is nice. We can presume that Barbara's going to fulfill some of the Harley Quinn roles.
Yeah.
I need Ivy to be a part of this team. I need her to hopefully not OD. We'll get to that in a second. But also, I just feel like this character has been through so much through that rapid growth, through which I know a lot of fans, including myself, weren't really a big fan of her being aged up that fast without that being a central part to the story, of the idea of her aging up. But now, after everything she's gone through with Penguin, after having to make all these really hard decisions, after really kind of stepping into her own, and the fact that they're all like, look, these men do us so dirty. We want it to be like an all-women team. I'm like, yes, let's do it. I am prepared. I'm so excited.
all about girl power and women empowering each other and helping each other out. So I love the fact that they put their differences aside and they're like, hey, you know what? Like, it's time for us to take over and like rule the world like we're supposed to.
Yeah, I love that Barbara comes in super strong. I also love how Barbara observes everyone. She's gotten a quiet kind of intensity to her coming into this season, and we see her analyze Selena real quick and go, okay, well, that one's on my side. You, go talk to your girl Tabitha, make it right, do what we need to do. We'll come back more to that for the next scene. Bruce is at it again. He, being in jail at 15 did not deter him. He is not concerned. He has money. He is privileged. So he decides to go back into the street. Alfred has to teach Bruce to block a bullet or something, or, you know, not watch him die. Challenging decisions for Alfred. Alfred's always been the one. He was teaching him how to wrestle all the way back in like season 1, and we've seen him grow and show him how to fight. But now guns are involved, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Especially as somebody who's such a fan of Alfred, how did this scene strike you? How did you feel about the fact that he wasn't going to go out with Bruce?
I knew that even though he said he wasn't going to go out.
I feel you.
I knew he wasn't going to let him. And, like, it's just, Alfred is his shadow. Alfred is Batman's shadow, like, forever. Because he knows what he's going to do. He knows, you know, where he's going to go. And I feel like Alfred already knew that this was bad news, so he pretended that he wasn't going to go to see if Bruce would go at the end. Which he did, of course.
That's why I think it's so hard, because, like, even though I'm with you, I felt like, okay, well, there's no way Alfred isn't going to go. We mentioned guns. We know there are new guns on the street, potentially. Yeah. I knew he was going to show up. But just having to watch Bruce go out, like, slamming the door, and Alfred just pining as he's trying to, like, cut some bread, I was like, this is heartbreaking. Like, I hate when you guys fight. You're so beautiful. It's like when a father and son that are usually close start fighting. It's uncomfortable. Nobody wants this. But, you know, it's good drama. I also think that Bruce needs to be concerned about the fact that he only feels alive when he's near death. That's not healthy, son. I know that's how we get Batman, but I still worry about your little soul. Ivan Soto was saying some interesting things. He does not want Selena with the psychos. I'm sorry. Selena can handle her own, and I really like her amongst the psychos.
Yeah.
I love her amongst the psychos. I think she thrives there because she is so sane, because she always knows exactly when to leave and back off. Yeah. And that's super dope.
Personally, I know I said Alfred is my favorite, but Selena really is my favorite too.
She's great, dude. There's no shame in that.
So
She's
good.
amazing.
I personally, first of all, I mean, the actress that plays the role, she's so good at her age. When I started watching the show in the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. And then I realized that she was Catwoman. I was like, oh my gosh, she's the cutest.
She's amazing. She embodies the Catwoman physique and style without being kind of obnoxious about it, which I think it would be very easy for any actor to move, especially as you're working with these characters, strong characters. You guys get it. She could have done a lot of things poorly, and she did them all well, and it's kind of amazing. What's up?
Halle Berry.
No, we're not. We don't have to mention her name here. It's okay. We can just, shh, there is no Halle Berry. I'm going to stop here to take a break before we get to How I See Gordon as Julius Caesar to talk about some super cool people. Support for this podcast comes from the astonishing new television saga, Marvel's Inhumans. On the dark side of the moon, there exists a civilization unlike anything you've ever seen before. People with extraordinary powers and abilities that make them more than human. They are inhuman. Meet Black Bolt, the king. The sound of his voice can destroy a city. Medusa, the queen, whose hair is a living weapon. And Lockjaw, the giant bulldog who teleports the royals from planet to planet. But treachery in the form of Black Bolt's evil brother Maximus threatens the royal family and their kingdom. The royals are forced to escape their true home, Earth, where the real fight for their future will begin. Join in the epic family drama as two brothers battle to claim one throne in an action-packed 8-episode event. Marvel's Inhumans, the complete series, begins with a special 2-hour premiere Friday, September 29th at 8/7 Central on ABC. So be sure to check that out, guys. Let's jump into...
Can I give Star Drew a shout out?
What?
He said $5 says Joelle won't watch Inhumans.
Star Drew, challenge accepted. I will send you my Venmo and we will work this out. Okay, so let's get into Gordon. Gordon has a very Julius Caesar moment where he is in the precinct and he's like, guys, there's a raid at the asylum. It's going to hell. Everyone pack up. And everyone says, remember how you want to work with Penguin? Yeah. And we're dying out in the streets and you didn't help us? No. Then, A2 Brutus, in the form of Harvey, says, I can't go with you either. I need these guys. And they need me.
Which is true. Which is
Harvey
totally
became
true.
the genius cop.
Yeah.
This is the... Okay, look. Harvey Bullock from the comics is so slimy and dirty and kind of gross. And that's why you like him. Lucretia and I talk about it all the time, how much we love Harvey Bullock from the comics because he's like an old beat cop who's seen everything. And buried way, way, way deep is a heart of gold. But it takes a long time to find, and he does a lot of stupid things before he makes the right decision. What I like about the show is it kind of turned that on its head. He is all kind of goodness, but in order to survive, he'll make, I don't want to say poor decisions, but maybe not, he won't always take the moral high ground.
Yeah.
He'll do what he needs to do to survive. He's a survivor. And that's really cool. And we've seen him...
I personally love that about Harvey.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes him Harvey. So...
Yeah, and we've seen him grow and morph from, kind of, he was always drinking before. He never really wanted to go out. Jim was always kind of pushing him and like, Harvey, we gotta go. We gotta try. And he's like, we're gonna get us in trouble or we're gonna get killed. You know, he pulled Alfred a couple of episodes ago where he's like, I can't go out with you. You're gonna get killed and I'm not gonna watch you die. You're obsessed. So seeing him here be both smart cop but also not Jim's partner.
Yeah.
Oh my God. My whole heart. I'm like, Harvey, how could you? How could you leave poor Jim? But he says if I die, who becomes captain? And I was like, well, Jim, who does
He's
become
got a
captain?
point.
It's going to be someone Penguin puts in charge, and that's not going to be good for anyone. So I was excited to see him coming into his own and being a real captain. It's exciting.
Definitely. I really like that part. It did hurt a little bit because, when wherever Jim goes, Harvey goes. So seeing him not go, and honestly, during the scene where he was at the asylum, I thought during the time where he was looking at I'm at Lee. I totally blanked out on her name for 2 seconds. When he was looking at Lee, I could have sworn I was just waiting for Harvey to walk in at any single given point. I really was hoping for Harvey to walk in and say hey, I had to sneak out or I did this for you. Let's get out of here. You're crazy. And then he would have been no, we had to help them. They're going crazy. I don't know. That's kind of what I was hoping because that's kind of what you're always going for.
I love when Harvey rescues Gordon. It's always so sweet. When Gordon was buried in the woods a couple of episodes ago, back in season 3, and he's got to come out and find him, and it's I'm running out of air. And he's like, just stay with me, Jim. And you're like, oh my God, their love is real, and it's beautiful. But I also like that Jim had to do it himself because Jim, especially with all the BS he's gone through with Lee and stuff, and drinking, and then it's been a mess for him for a long time. So for him to find his true north, which is justice, and being a good cop, everything he did this episode is good cop territory, and that's I love a righteous and a rightfully righteous Gordon. So that was kind of exciting.
I think this is the only episode where Gordon has only killed I think one person.
Yeah, he wasn't trigger happy, which is nice. Someone ratted out Barbara. Now, at first, I thought, oh, well, Tabitha oddly went to Penguin. That thought crossed my mind, and I said, well, that doesn't quite make sense. They're not on the same page. So I'm curious. We have a couple of questions here, and I'll throw it to the chat, too. One, who do we think is bankrolling Barbara? Now, my first guess is obviously the Court of Owls. That just makes sense. They need some sense of control. We know they're not working with Penguin yet. So to raise Barbara from the dead, from the Lazarus pit, which was introduced last season, all that stuff kind of makes sense. But I'm curious to see if you guys think someone else is. Yeah, Ivan said it was already Raja Ghul. I appreciate that. Do you feel that they brought the Gordon from season 1? the non-cold-blooded murderer. I do, which I think is fine. I think that any Gotham GCPD before Batman story featuring Gordon should be like that. I think Gordon goes through the entire ringer, all of what Gotham Police is capable of, and then comes back to himself at the end. He comes into Gotham wanting to be a good cop, wanting to change it. He realizes that's much harder. His family is put at risk in pretty much every Batman story we've ever read. And then he always comes back to wanting to be Gordon. So I really like that. I also wanted to ask, how long until we see Zsasz use that giant gun he stole? Because it just seemed like it's just a giant thing to have. And when they had him in the frame, he's centered and the gun is so big. And I'm like, I really hope that gun comes back like next episode. I want to see the firepower. Also, I'm so used to seeing Zsasz with knives in the comic books. And he's used guns here, but they're never kind of... at least from what I can remember, it's not showy, yeah. So to have the giant epic gun...
even at the wedding scene, he was very calm, and then it was like a very small like handgun. He was like, okay, finger off.
I gotta go. Yeah, he's not a big gun guy, so it's kind of cool to see. Like, I'm picking this one. I'm like, Zsasz, what are you doing with that? Weird, but also exciting. And I want to know eventually who did Red Out Barbara. Maybe it wouldn't even surprise me if whoever's bankrolling her did it to start something.
Yeah.
She seems determined. Did you have any thoughts on that before we move to the next scene?
For Barbara?
Yeah.
No, honestly, I don't know who would have ratted her out besides the people who pretty much helped her build that thing. Because then nobody else knew besides the other girls, unless if there's a scene or there's something that we don't know that happened.
That's true. So then we get Gordon versus Scarecrow, and they both have very different memories of how his dad died, which I thought was really hilarious. Like, he was a hero. He was trying to kill you. He wanted to cure me. He was definitely trying to kill you, which was funny. Lee's always going to be Jim's kryptonite. When they're like, what are you afraid of? I'm like, well, Lee. And then, the quote, you can't stop being afraid. You can only become the demon. And then to hear him say, I'm not weak anymore, and I will never go back to being that boy. Sad, but also kind of like, I really like the Scarecrow as a villain, but I think the Scarecrow does good when he is like the first wave of someone's master plan. Like, Scarecrow in and of himself on a one-on-one fight, terrifying. If you Scarecrow a bunch of people, it kind of gets convoluted
it's very
fast.
difficult, yeah.
You can do the big horror house like they did with the Asylum this week. There's a couple other storylines you can try, but I would really like to see someone swoop in, pick this kid up, give him direction, and really aim that nerve gas to do some real damage. Jerome, come back is what I'm saying. Poison the river. I love those stories. I don't care. We always poison the river in Batman, and it's amazing. Bruce fails at stalking, which is great. In the story of watching Bruce become Batman, it's really important to me to see pitfalls and how he learns from them. So when they have him pinned on the table and he's like, what can I use? I'm like, that's Batman! It's happening!
Yeah.
How do you feel about how they're transitioning from Bruce Wayne to Batman this season?
Well, that's what I loved about the show from the beginning. When I remember when I started watching the pilot, I was trying to figure out who was who. Was it? Obviously we realized that Bruce is a little boy and so on and so forth. So as I started watching the show, I really liked the fact that you were starting to see a little bit of Bruce, of Batman. I mean, for example, when he found the little controller to the opening vase, and I know this is like all talking about like previous seasons, but I feel like I just need to say what I mean because like
a lot of the seasons, they know they're cool.
So when he opened that, because I remember that Alfred was like, don't you think about it, like, don't you dare. And he's like, I'm
gonna do it.
And that was such a Batman move, because it's like, don't do it, but he goes and he does it. And just seeing the transition of him becoming, honestly, I feel very attached to Bruce, because I feel like I've seen him kind of grow up. And it's kind of one of those, like, when you see your family members and they're growing up and they're becoming, they're fulfilling their purpose and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you just see him grow into it. That's my favorite part about Gotham, is the fact that you see how each person becomes their character through everything that they're going through. And I just love it. I love it. So when he was doing that, I was like, oh my gosh, Batman.
It's happening. Yeah, James Mirrodom in the chat says that it feels like it's happening really fast, which I guess in some senses is true. Like, we went from, and this has kind of always been my issue with Gotham, is overall pacing. I really would have liked to have seen him do like more like small time robbery in the like hoodie kind of setup, long jacket. Because I think that, to me, anybody who goes on to become Batman has to start small and be small for a minute.
Yeah.
Like petty crimes, like really patrolling that back alley where his parents died, which we saw a little bit in the last episode.
But it is moving
But
fast.
he went
it
from
makes
that
sense
to
why
like,
it's
here's
moving
Lucius
faster.
Fox giving you the full Batmans. I said, what? So
I
there's so
personally
many.
thought that the season was going to end with him getting the suit, not
That is-
start with the...
Thank you. Okay, no, this is what we can talk about. I felt the exact same way, even though we were both kind of freaking out a little bit as we saw the suit come on, and then of course Alfred has made him the first part of the cowl, not the ears yet, but the face part. It's thrilling. You're like,
Yeah.
it's little Batman. It's so cool. At the same time, you're like, how covert are you if Lucius Fox picked this out? Lucius Fox is smart. I'm not trying to dumb down like Lucius Fox, but it just seems so fast where he's like, gravel.
Yeah.
You're trying to be a Batman. What? Where? How? That's just so fast.
I thought he was just pretty much trying to keep him safe because he knew that he was doing something he wasn't supposed to. But I could totally be wrong.
Yeah. Zisa B. Lou says, true, but you can say that from almost every show on TV. No show has a guarantee to come back for the following season, and they can't use that excuse. So I totally understand that. I totally hear, like, we're pretty sure this is Gotham's last season, which is sad, but also it makes sense. We're going to get the Dark Knight. So we do have to hit all of these beats.
Yeah.
We don't know, like, there could be any kind of thing could come up and take him out of commission for a couple of episodes, and that would kind of balance out the timeline. It's hard to say until you know the end how the pacing is throughout. But as a fan watching in real time, it does feel just a little bit speedy.
Well, it is speedy, like super speedy, because I feel like when we to get to season 4, it's taken a long time for him to become
That's
the
true.
Batman. It's taken him 3 seasons to become the Batman,
And not even the Batman.
and not even
yet,
the Batman.
To start seeing
He's
the
like
semblances of it. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, you can't really predict if like a show's gonna get picked
true.
up or so. So you want to, I think they were pacing it to the point where they wanted Bruce to be older.
Yeah.
I get as in the actor to be older to play the Batman instead of having a 15-year-old play the legit Batman, which I
Definitely.
completely understand, and that's personally what I thought was going to happen. I personally thought that this was going to be a show that was going to last at least like 7 to 9
Yeah.
seasons to see where he goes and so we see him grow up and become the Batman. Because right now I think he's just finding his way to being Batman.
He's working on it.
Yeah.
I did really appreciate the composer doing some nice superhero horns as he was like blasting the guy with the lighter and the spray can. It was kind of amazing. We're going to speed through the last couple bits because we're running out of time. Selena tries to convince Tabitha, and to me this was like, yes, Gotham Sirens, we're so close. Also Selena fighting Tabitha. It's a really hard thing to do. Tabitha is strong. She knows what she wants. She knows what
Yeah.
she's after, and she knows when she has an issue and if she's not going to do something. It was really cool to see Selena kind of buck up with her and hold her own. I'm mad that Tabitha won't let Ivy in. It's frustrating. Let her in. She's great. She's going to talk to Barbara, but she needs assurances. We'll go just straight through that scene. The hand. I really wanted... Okay, so once the idea was proposed, I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, let's do this. I thought Barbara was going to lose a hand. I thought we were going to get
Really?
like gold hand Barbara, a la like Jamie from Game of Thrones with the cool black suit. I was like, yeah, really dope. And I felt like it was deserved. And we haven't really known... Well, I guess maybe that's not true because when Butch almost lost a hand, she was willing to lose a hand for Butch. And so we've seen Tabitha be this kind of gentle lioness
Yeah.
before. I'm still shocked she pulled punches with Barbara. Like, I know they were best friends for a bit, but I thought she was over it. I thought for sure she was going to take that
Yeah.
hand. So what did you think about that after she decided not to?
Well, I didn't think she was going to in the first place. I think
Really?
it was just I personally thought it was just going to be a test to see
Okay.
if she was going to do it.
It's a good
because you
test.
can see it in her face that when she said, yeah, like, sure.
She capped that pen
Yeah.
and said, oh, do what you got. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, gee.
Yeah. She was like, I totally get it, but I want your trust. Here you go.
Do what you gotta do. So yeah, that was okay. We talked about Lucius giving him all the stuff. So Gordon figures out how to remove this gas, and it's water, which to me, it rains a lot in Gotham. How are you gonna the gas goes away with water. Does that even make scientific sense? It's my only point. Like, the only time I'll ever bring up science stuff in Gotham is if it's just super far-fetched. And I'm like, just water just erodes the gas out of your... What?
I know, they took the other people, like, to the hospital, right? From the bank robbery.
It was silly. I didn't like that it was water that was the cure. But what can you do? So, of course, Scarecrow gets away. Penguin's point being proved once again. If we have permits, we can do it. If not, you could have just sent me. I'd have shot the bastard, and we could have been done with it. Now, this is outlaw justice and not what what Gordon aspires to at all. But he does have a point. It might have worked.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think it was necessary to kill him. I think, if anything, it was necessary to bring him in and to cure him, because obviously he's afraid more than anything. That's why he became the Scarecrow, out of his fear. And I don't think Penguin should try and kill every single person that's like.
I agree. That's why we need the police.
The Scarecrow. It wasn't his fault that they used like the what's it called, They had a specific name for the potion.
The fear toxin, I think is what it's called.
The fear juice, aka fear juice.
Okay.
It wasn't his fault that they used that juice on him. It was the other people. He was taken against his will to their place, and then he was locked up like
He's
with his
definitely a
biggest
victim
fear.
of abuse. So that makes sense to me. But what can you do? It is what it is. I kind of wish it is Gotham. Stardew earlier wondered if Harvey would promote Gordon to captain this year, which I'd be interested to hear the chat's opinion. I don't know if we're going to get Captain Gordon this year or Commissioner Gordon or what. To me, it seems like the only way that Gordon can move up is something happens to Harvey.
Yeah.
Right? That's just how I picture it. So I don't know.
But I hope nothing happens to Harvey.
Yeah. Important things that happened at the end. Penguin offers 3 times the amount to police officers who are clearly considering it. That's a lot of moolah, especially in Gotham, where there's a clear class divide visually amongst the city. I totally would like to make 3 times more than I currently make. Bullock is definitely playing the long game. He says this is a war. We need all of these officers. I can't go with you. This is exactly why I couldn't go with you, because now they still trust me. I stayed here with them. I followed the rules. I kept them safe. I didn't put them in harm's way. And on top of that, Gordon, I knew you would handle it. And you're like an all-star. I knew you could handle a room full of crazies. It's fine. Then I think Bullock says something that he'll regret forever, which is it almost makes you miss Falcone.
Yeah.
Where Gordon just shot right up and was like, oh, I know that guy. I could totally bring him back. Harvey, of course, mentions, hey, remember how you killed that guy's son? And Italians don't forget that kind of stuff. Great line. It looks like Falcone's going to come back. I've been waiting for Falcone to come back. Yeah. I love Falcone. I love the actor who plays him. I think he's brought a lot of gravitas to the show. And then, just to quickly wrap out, looking ahead at next week's show, it looks like Bruce is going to be out on the street. And Vicky Vale, my favorite, is coming back, guys. I love Vicky. I ship Vicky and Gordon. I know it's weird. I know it'll probably never work, but I love them. I love that they drink together. I love how sassy she is. I am so excited for next week's episode. What did you think about the possible return of Falcone? And then we'll get into predictions.
I am super excited for Falcone's return because I think he's such a powerful man that just his presence is powerful. Yeah, he doesn't really need to say or do anything. It's just like he's there and you know he's there. And I love that. I love that about Falcone. And I'm really excited to have him back and see what he does to take back his city, pretty much, really.
It's gonna be interesting. I really want a Falcone versus Penguin
battle,
because it's completely opposite of what we started with. Again, we're talking about coming full circle this season. When we first began, we had Penguin working for Fish, who was going up against Falcone. It was messy. Fish is now out of the picture. Penguin is, we never know with Fish. She could always come back.
Like they said, this is Gotham. They didn't check for her pulse.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to me to see how that works out and what happens. But I'm really excited for next episode. Any predictions? Let's do quick predictions.
I predict that...
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Gotta let the guy speak. He knows.
They changed it. Now they don't do the.
I don't know where my
crazy
flashing
sound.
lights were, but we're gonna have a
I
conversation
know,
about it afterwards.
It was a short one.
Okay, I appreciate that. He's like, you're short on time. Go.
I think that Bruce is going to see Selena at the whenever they're doing the robbery. And he's gonna go down, and they're gonna see each other in their own clothes, and she's gonna ask what are you doing?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Cool. Predictions. I think that if not next episode, very soon Bruce is gonna be really hurt. Like Alfred questions why he would let a child do this level of hurt. I also think something's going to happen to Harvey. I'm not sure if it's a bullet. I'm not sure if it's a corruption thing where Penguin gets him out, but I think something happens to jeopardize his place, and Gordon will have to start stepping up as a leader. Because right now we're seeing Gordon become a good cop, which I think will be inspiring to some of those people who, as we were talking about earlier, came in for the justice aspects of the police profession. But he's not being a leader right now. He's not thinking about the whole crew. He's just like, you're all wrong. I need Gordon the leader to come through, and I'm excited about it.
Well, I just want to end with a note of saying that we saw for the first time our Batman standing the iconic Batman photo where he's standing over the city, and I like that it was a small building, and then I hope that it ends with him being on top of a big building watching all over
slowly
Gotham.
watching him rise to different yes. We even got to see him do his little parkour routine, which was super dope as he's running from different buildings, and he almost falls, and you see Alfred at the bottom, and I'm like, just don't fall. Okay, good. So remember to be careful. I feel like it's as a parent when they're watching their kid ride a bike for the first time, and they're like, oh my God, please don't hurt yourself.
Yeah. But I like
cute.
I like the way that he does it, because he doesn't, it's not like he yells watch out, I told you, or starts going off on him. He's just
a military man.
Yeah,
He's like, you might get hurt, but I'll be here to help stitch you up.
Yeah.
It's why we love Alfred. Until next week, where can the folks find you?
Well, guys, it was so awesome hosting this show
I'm so glad
for the first time. And you guys can find me on Instagram at Karla with a K, BE Travels, and on Twitter at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
Excellent. Follow her, like her, see the statuses. I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. If you head over to both my Instagram and Twitter pages, but Insta's probably a little easier to find, that's Joelle_Monique. I interviewed Robin Lord Taylor. It was amazing. He plays Penguin, if you don't know the name off the top of your head. He was at the Foxfall party. It was amazing. He said he's going to watch this show, so if you're watching, Robin, hi! We're going to try to get him on the show. I make no promises, but we're going to try. Join us next week when hopefully we'll be at a full panel, but if not, we will definitely be here talking about Gotham, the one and only Batman. Maybe Jerome comes back soon. Fingers crossed. But we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.